In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so glad that you have joined us today. Now, before we dive in, just a quick reminder. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and tap the screen, like, comment, and share this episode. Your support helps us to reach more amazing people on their healing journey. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and give us a follow, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a moment of what's coming next. I also invite you to head over to our website at theselfcareclub.org. We've got affirmative apparel, motivational merch, and a ton of free resources to support you wherever you are on your self-care journey. I want you to know that you are not alone. We are in this together, growing and healing one breath at a time. Let's continue to choose to make space for peace, for growth, and most importantly, for you. Now, if something in today's episode speaks to your heart, make sure you drop a green heart in the chat. It's our way of saying I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. The topic for today's episode is stop settling. Stop settling. Because God has more for you. And let's just talk about it for real, y'all. Let's talk about what happens when we choose to settle, right? Because settling is a choice, right? It's not just an inconvenience. It's not just a temporary detour. Ultimately, it's a curse, okay? And I don't say that lightly. When you settle, when you shrink, when you silence yourself, right? When you stay in what's safe, but still suffocating, you don't just delay your blessings. You are starting to distort your own reflection. See, every time you settle, you send a message to your soul that says, I'm not worth more. And eventually your spirit will start to believe that. You'll start to internalize lack. You'll start calling struggle your standard. You decorate the cage and make it comfortable. At this point, you also start to convince yourself that crumbs are full course meals because that's all you've been fed for so long. Let me break it down even further, okay? Settling affects your mind. It affects your money, your peace, your purpose. Mentally, when you settle, you stay in constant conflict with yourself. You know you're not happy, but you're scared to make a change. You start to gaslight yourself with words like, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'm doing too much. And eventually, you forget what joy feels like. You only remember what functioning feels like. You cannot thrive when you were always in survival mode. And so emotionally, you start to feel numb, right? You stop dreaming. You begin to lose the version of yourself who used to believe that more was possible. Y'all, and look, I'm no different than the rest of you, right? I've had that moment, y'all, where I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I had become. Not because I didn't look the same on the outside, but because I had settled so much that my soul was starving. I had outgrown the box I was in and I could feel it, right? Hey, Sam. Settling slowly kills you in pieces that are small enough to justify. And then, oh gosh, if we start to think about spiritually, right? Let's talk the spiritual. You ever wonder why you feel so disconnected? Like why you feel so distant from God? It's because settling separates you from alignment. You weren't created to stay where God only meant for you to pass through, right? Thank you, love. Right? You weren't created to just sit right here in this space and not grow. So when you stay too long in a space that was only supposed to teach you, that was only supposed to grow you, right? Not keep you, then you start to forfeit the promise. And baby, delayed obedience is disobedience. It's like you're asking God for the next level while you're holding hands with the past. You can't take Egypt into the promised land. And I really believe that God loves us too much to bless us, with a comfort zone. He's not cruel for pushing us. He's actually calling us to do better, to be more, right? He's calling us higher. And I think that sometimes we settle because we don't trust that better is real, right? Because when all you've known is pain, dysfunction starts to feel like home. But hear me when I say this. Familiar doesn't mean faithful. Just because you're used to it, just because you're familiar with it, that doesn't mean that it's faithful. It doesn't mean that it's for you. Just because it's what you're used to, it doesn't mean that that's what you deserve. And so over the years, and in time, you start to convince yourself that walking away is going to be a sign of failure. But settling is the real failure. Staying stuck, choosing less, ignoring your intuition, that's what keeps you in a cycle that your spirit was meant to break. So let me make it plain. Settling is not loyalty. Settling is not love. Settling is not noble. It's not safe. Settling is spiritual sabotage. There's no other way to put it. And you were not created for that. You were created to rise, to reflect of all God's goodness, and to walk in fullness. But you cannot carry your crown and your comfort zone at the same time. So if you're listening to this and you feel that sting of conviction, good. I hope you feel it. Thank you, love. Let it sting. That sting is your wake-up call. That sting is your spirit stating that we cannot stay here. All right? Let me speak directly to you, and you know who you are. If you're sitting in something is beneath your purpose, if you are tolerating behavior that insults your spirit, yes, Shan, welcome in, love. If you're begging for crumbs while God is holding out an entire table of blessings, I want you to hear me when I say it is time for you to stop playing small in places that God already told you to leave. You are not asking for too much. You've just been settling for less for too long. So take this opportunity to breathe. Feel that truth. And let's break that curse. Because your freedom is honestly waiting on the other side of your no more. Right? Your healing begins where your tolerance ends. And that's when you finally decide, you know what? Enough is enough. That's when the miracles start moving. And listen, you don't have to prove that you deserve less. All right? Settling for less is not humility. It is self-betrayal dressed up as survival. Some of us were raised to believe that struggle was spiritual. right? That playing small was safer. That sacrificing your joy somehow meant that you were noble. Right, Miss Rara? Hey, Stephanie. But listen, no more of that. That mindset ends with us. What up, MK? You don't have to prove your loyalty to people who never earned your presence. And you don't have to keep lowering your standards just because other people are uncomfortable with your growth. When you settle, you shrink the size of your blessings. You limit what God can do in your life because you're still negotiating with dysfunction. Stop holding up your own breakthrough. And you know what? Sometimes the enemy ain't your ex. It's not your job. It's not your family. The enemy that many of us are sleeping with is our comfort zone. That enemy is your refusal to stretch. It's your attachment to what is familiar, what you're comfortable with, even if it's failing you. Right? And sometimes the delay ain't the devil. It's your own disbelief. It's like we love to blame, the blockage on the universe, on timing, on people. Hell, if nothing else, we're going to blame it on the devil. That ain't nothing but the devil, y'all, right? But the truth is, you've been holding up your own breakthrough. You've been circling the block or circling that same mountain with your eyes wide shut. It's like you want new, you want more, you want better, but you won't release the old. Many of us are running around saying that, we want love. We want new love. We want relationship, but y'all still texting the ex. Y'all still texting the same person who left your soul bruised. You want new opportunities, but you won't step outside of the job that is killing your creativity. You want a new mindset, but you're still rehearsing those same limiting beliefs from 2006. They didn't serve you then. It's not going to serve you now. You can't pray for harvest while still clinging and cultivating weeds. It's like we keep asking God for rain, but you're still planting seeds in soil that we know is already dead. That's not alignment. That is avoidance. That is fear that we have dressed up over the years as faith. And let's be real. Fear will make you forget who you are and whose you are. A lot of us have made fear our home. It's like fear will have you ghosting greatness and then wondering why nothing is growing. But here's the truth. God didn't give you that fear, that overthinking, that self-doubt, that what if I fail loop that's playing over and over again in your mind. That didn't come from him. That didn't come from God. You pick that up from trauma, from years of disappointment, from the past that tried to convince you that you weren't enough. All that toxic energy. That's where you picked up fear. And now you've built routines around your fears instead of your faith. You've settled in cycles that feel safe, but secretly steal your joy. And so at some point, you've got to ask yourself, are you busy or are you avoiding? Right? Let's talk about your distractions. Because some of y'all stay busy so y'all don't have to face the real work, which is your healing. Oftentimes I ask people, well, what do you do for self-care? How are you pouring into yourself? And people say, I try to make time for it when I can, but I just be so busy, right? I be so busy. And in my mind, I'm thinking busy doing what? Avoiding what needs to be done? Avoiding the love and care that you deserve? See, that constant hustle, that perfectionism, that I'm always available energy, it's cute, but it's just a mask. It's a cute little filter. What up, Papa Smurf? Being busy is not the same as being aligned. I want y'all to pick that up. I'm trying to put something down for y'all. I need y'all to pick it up. Being busy is not the same as being aligned. Because you can be booked and broken. You can be productive and still completely out of your purpose. And every single time you avoid the hard conversation, you delay the boundaries, postpone the dream, all you're doing is adding bricks to your own wall. You're not stuck. You're stalling. And your future is waiting on you to stop hiding behind fear. And again, you know, when things are delayed in our life, that doesn't mean denied, right? It just simply requires a decision to be made. Hello, brother. Breakthroughs don't come when you feel ready. Breakthroughs happen when you choose to believe anyway. And look, I get it. It is scary to leave what's familiar, what we've always done, what we've always known. And even when that familiar is hurting you, we get comfortable. We stay there. What they tell you, the devil you know is better than the one that you don't, or the enemy that you know is better than the one. I don't know. But listen, even when that familiar is hurting us, we still just sit there. But we have to decide, do I want comfort or do I want change? Because those two are rarely found in the same room. You ever heard the phrase, nothing changes if nothing changes? So again, ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that is keeping me stuck? Where am I playing small just to stay safe? What truth am I avoiding because it would require me to take action? What is my breakthrough wanting me to do? Because what you're unwilling to face is usually the exact thing that's holding the key to your next level. And you know what? It's all about that breakthrough moment, right? You've cried for it. You've prayed for it. You've journaled about it. But now it's your time to take action and move for it. This is your call to step into your divine alignment. No more asking for signs. This is the sign. This moment. No more asking for confirmation. This is your confirmation. Let go of the guilt, the fear, the overthinking, and start walking like the door is already open. Because it is. It's been open. You just had to believe that you were worthy enough to walk through it. You've got to begin to make room for your miracles. And you know, that starts with us simply repeating affirmations like, I'm done settling for less than I deserve. I'm done settling for less. I want more. Because when you start walking like you're worthy, when you start talking like you're chosen and living like you're loved, things start shifting. And you know what? I can tell you something that I know from my own journey. Peace does not live where you keep inviting drama. Love don't grow where respect can't breathe. Purpose don't show up in places you ain't welcomed. So if you want more of what God has for you, you've got to stop trying to decorate your prison cell and call it home. Some of y'all have been trying to make hell comfortable instead of choosing your healing. You were not created to settle. You were created to soar. But God is not going to force elevation on someone who still clings to their excuses. And if I'm being 100% honest, thank you, Cap. If I'm being 100% honest, y'all, the inner child in you deserves more too. Right? It's this is for all the grown women, the grown men listening, right? This is for the little boy and the little girl inside of you. Because we talk a lot about breaking cycles, about not settling, about healing. But you cannot fully rise up and until you go back and check the little boy or the little girl who learned to survive instead of shine. There's, this inner child in you that is still waiting to be chosen, waiting to be picked. Just hoping that someone will show up and say that you matter, that you are enough, that you're safe now. And so I want to speak to them today. I want to tell that little girl that you were never too much. I'm going to tell that little boy that you were never too sensitive. That you were never wrong for wanting love, peace, attention, protection. Some of us were taught how to settle by the age of 6. We were taught to be quiet, to keep the peace, to perform, to receive praise, to stay small so that so many other people around us would feel big. See, you didn't learn how to settle as a woman. You were trained to settle as a girl. Fellas, you didn't learn how to, settle as a grown man. You were taught that. You were trained that as a boy. And the crazy part is the little kid in us is still driving some of the decisions we make as adults. Thank you, MK. Right? That inner child in you is still trying to protect you. They're still afraid of abandonment, rejection, of not being enough. So that inner child in us clings. She avoids confrontation. He overgives, overthinks, shrinks in rooms that were built specifically for us to grow in. And you wonder why you settle, right? Let's talk about it, right? You don't struggle with boundaries because you're weak. You struggle with boundaries because your inner child was punished for having needs. You don't stay in toxic situations because you don't know better. You stay in toxic situations because your inner child learned that love is earned through pain. You're not broken. You are brilliant. The patterns that you are used to are just survival tactics. But now survival is not the goal. Healing is the goal. And so in this moment, I want you to have your permission and your space to breathe. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to picture her or picture him, the younger you, the inner child in you. And I want you to go back before the heartbreak, before the trauma, before the settling. That version of you that still had dreams in their eyes and softness in their heart. And I want you to go to them. And I want you to look them in the face and say, I'm sorry you had to go through that. I am so sorry that you had to go through that. It was not your fault. And you did not deserve that. And I want you to tell that inner child that I see you now. And that I'm going to take care of both of us. Because the woman you are now, the man that you are now, you've got power. You've got tools. Most importantly, now you have a choice. See, as a child, many of us did not have a choice. But now we have a choice. And every time you say no to what doesn't honor you, you are protecting that little boy and that little girl. Every time you leave what does not love you well, you are healing your inner child. Every time you choose peace over performance, you are choosing him. You are choosing her. See, the inner child doesn't want nor need another apology. He or she needs to see you walk away from what hurts. They need to see you walk it like you talk it. And you have to understand, it's not your fault what happened to you then, but it is your responsibility to heal from it now. I need you to hear me with your heart when I say that. It is not your fault they did not see you. It's not your fault that they did not protect you. It is not your fault that you had to be strong when you should have been soft. But it is your responsibility to now reparent that part of you. You know what? Your parents didn't get it right. It happens. But now you have the opportunity to unlearn, to reparent that part of you, to nurture, to validate, to build a life that reflects what you've always deserved. You can't heal by denying who you had to be to survive. You heal by loving them into wholeness. So I encourage you all, spend some time, write a love letter to your inner child, right? Start with, something like, hey, me, right? Something so simple. Let them know, I'm sorry that I didn't always listen to you. And I know that you were scared. I know that you needed love. And I know that we didn't get that then, but I'm here now. And I promise to, and you just go into it and you just open your heart and let those words flow. Let the tears fall if they need to. This is how you stop settling. Not just in your present, but in your pattern. And you have to break the old patterns. Don't continue to pass them down. This ain't about, it's not just about you, right? Your decisions, what you settle for, what you tolerate, what you believe about yourself, that becomes the blueprint for the next generation. So if you needed one more reason to stop settling, break the pattern so your children don't have to heal from it later. Because let's be honest, some of us saw our mamas settle, right? We watched them dim their light, carrying the weight of everything, and they called it strength. And now we're repeating that story. We're rewriting it in our relationships, our careers, and even how we talk to ourselves, right? We watched our fathers carry it all, never having a moment to just be. But listen, your healing is not just for you. It's for your daughter, your niece, your son, your nephew, your inner circle. You are the blueprint of somebody else's breakthrough. They're watching. And so you get to say the trauma ends with me. Not because it was easy, but because it was time. Right? Because you're finally ready to choose different. No problem, NK. Today, I want you guys to grab your journal and just open your heart and reflect on, these kind of questions. Ask yourself, where in life am I still settling? And I want you to be honest, no judgment, just awareness, right? We listen and we don't judge. That starts with us. We listen to our inner voice and we do not judge it. I want you to ask yourself, what belief or fear is keeping me stuck here? Is it that I believe that I don't deserve more? Is it because I'm afraid to be alone? And speaking of more, what would more look like to you? What does that look like to you? I want you to define it. Is it more peace, reciprocity, freedom, purpose, joy? I want you to figure out, one area where you're ready to just let go, to break free from. Maybe that's a relationship, a job, an inner narrative, some sort of mindset, some sort of limiting belief that you're holding on to. And I want you to write it down as a declaration. I want y'all to say it with your chest. I am no longer available for what drains me. I am open and I'm ready for what aligns with who I truly am. I want you guys to spend some time today, taking time, sitting with it. Cry if you need to. That does not make you weak. It just simply means that you're creating and clearing space for the divine alignment. That is how we go from settling to soaring. That's how we move into our next step. And listen, guys, this isn't just a podcast episode. This is literally your activation moment. It is time for us to rise up. It's like we've been loyal to the pain for so long. And at this point, it's long enough. We've been romanticizing our struggle long enough. That version of you that's been settling, it is expired. It's time to throw it out. It is time for us to upgrade. And when I'm talking about upgrade, I mean your mind, your body, your spirit, your relationships, your finances, everything. We have to choose more. Now, before we go today, I want to speak to the part of you that has been quietly carrying it all. Right? It's like you've been strong for so long. You are the fixer, the forgiver, the one who makes sure that everybody else is okay. But today I want you to pause. I want you to be okay. I want to make sure that you are okay. I want you to know that you don't have to earn rest. You deserve it. That you don't have to shrink to be loved. You don't have to settle to be chosen. And you don't have to wear the weight of the world just to prove that you are worthy of being seen. Because, baby, you are already enough. Exactly as you are, right there in the thick of your mess, in the rawness of your healing, even in your uncertainty, you are still magic. You are still a masterpiece, still a miracle. And just because the process is ugly doesn't mean that the promise ain't real. So I want you to keep going. Don't give up on the version of you that is still unfolding. And I know that the world may not have always celebrated you, but I want you to know that you are worth celebrating. You are not too late, too broken, too sensitive, too complicated. You are right on time. You are whole, and you are holy ground. So from my heart to yours, I pray this. May you have the courage to release what no longer serves your peace. May you honor the little boy or the little girl inside of you with every boundary that you set. May you believe, and I mean really believe, that you are worthy of the more that God has in store for you. This is your turning point. You are unlearning and relearning. You are becoming and unbecoming. Your room to breathe is here. And this is your opportunity to finally just be. And no matter how far you still have to go, I want you to know this. You are not alone. Not now, not ever. You will always be supported here at the Self-Care Club. And if you've never had one before, you finally have family right here with us. You have a village, a community, a covering. Thank you, Goof. We're in this together, healing one breath at a time. So I encourage you to keep breathing, stay positive, and never be afraid to take up space and make a little room for you to breathe, to just be, to feel, to fall, to rise, to cry when needed and laugh unapologetically, to rest, reflect, receive, because sometimes that is the most revolutionary thing that we can do. I love each and every one of you to life, and I pray that you all have an amazing day on purpose, filled with nothing but purpose. And remember, if this episode spoke to your soul, I invite you to share it with someone. Let's keep this message of love going. I invite you all to visit our website at theselfcareclub.org. You can check out the affirmative apparel and all of the different resources that we do have available there for you to help you no matter where you are on your journey. I want you guys to know that you are the most sacred thing that you'll ever have to carry. So love on yourself, prioritize your peace, your mental health. And let's go out there and be the amazing individuals that I know each and every one of you are. Have a blessed day, guys.
I found my room to